All right, I had a viewer request me make another video about imaging the Milky Way. I've finally been able to go out to a dark sky location and do this video. That's one problem about the Milky Way is it's not always convenient because you do have to be somewhere dark sky. You have to be able to see the Milky Way. If you can't see it with your eyes, or at least close to being able to see it with your eyes, you're not going to be successful. So you need to go to a dark enough sky. You don't want a bright moon. I currently do have a little crescent moon going on. I also have some wildfires in the area that are causing the skies to be a little hazy. So I'm not entirely sure we'll get a great result with this, but I just basically want to do this video at the request of VP. He probably knows who he is, but I think this will be helpful for others as well. So I'm creating another video about doing the Milky Way. I've done one prior to this, and this is another attempt at showing you step by step how to do it. So I've logged on and connected to my Seestar. I'm in the dark sky location. I do have it set up in azimuth mode. I've heard that you can't do it in equatorial mode. I haven't actually tried that myself because when I go out to a dark sky location, I don't want to haul all the gear to do that. And so I just take the tripod that came with the Seestar S30 Pro and I do it in azimuth mode. And so I've got it set up, and I did all the leveling and initialization of autofocus, that kind of stuff I already have done. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and click on the Milky Way mode that's right there in the center of the screen. And then it comes up to this capture screen. And if you wait a second, it's going to give you that live view. And that's what you can see right there is the current live view. Up in the top right hand corner, you're going to click on those three red dots, or three little dots. And here's where you can change your exposure length. And I currently have it set at 10 seconds. I'm doing that mainly because I'm not sure how successful I'll be with the haze in the sky and the moonlight that's coming in. So I'm going to do short exposures. You can select up to 60-second exposures and it would work the same way. So it's just a matter of what you want to do exposure-wise. I do have the freeze ground turned on, and I'm going to just have it do a freeze ground images for 1 minute. That's just to save me some time. It's like 100 degrees out here, and we're sitting in a car. It's dark, and we have the windows kind of up because don't want bugs in. It's kind of hot, so I don't want this to take too terribly long. So I'm going to do 1 minute on the freeze ground. I'm not going to save each frame. You could save each frame and then export them, but I want to do this solely in the Seestar app for the purpose of this video. So those are the settings I set there, and then you click outside of there to close that settings window, and it takes you back to that live view. Now down at the bottom, you see the capture is highlighted and is red. That's because we clicked on the Milky Way mode, and that's what turned on that. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to tell it what style of picture I want. And over here on the very far left next to the capture is this little icon and a circle around it. Click on that and it opens a little tutorial telling you about the orientation of the image you're going to take. And you have three options. You can do the original, which is just one little square, which you don't want to do for Milky Way mode because the whole purpose is to get a larger field of view. So the options you want to select between are the middle one and the one on the right. And you can see those boxes bouncing around. That's showing you how the Milky Way mode works. It takes little rectangles to create a bigger rectangle. And then at the end, it will stitch those individual rectangles together to make a larger screen. And so I think what I'm going to do is I am going to do the landscape mode for the Milky Way. I'm mainly doing this because the Milky Way is laying pretty low to the horizon right now, And so if I did it portrait, I'd just get one little sliver of it, whereas if I do it landscape, I'm hoping to capture more of it. And then once you understand that little tutorial, you click got it, and then you select the mode down there at the bottom. And I selected the one on the far right, and if you don't click on it quickly, it will disappear. And it just minimizes that little icon. And then I come back here. Now I'm back to that live imaging screen. I'm not capturing yet. I just have it in live viewing mode, kind of like scenery mode. So now I need to tell it where I want it to image. And so I'm going to click on the Sky Atlas square in the bottom right-hand corner. And that brings up the Sky Atlas. And you can see right here, you can see there's an orange box and a blue box. The blue box is where it's currently pointing, and the orange box is where I'm telling it I want it to capture. And because I put it in landscape mode, that orange box is in a landscape mode. Sorry about that. A phone call came through and my phone was trying to answer it. And so now I've got to get back to where I was. Let's see. All right, I was fiddling with my phone trying to get it answered. So I'm going to move that box. I'm going to shrink the screen a little bit so I can see the full thing. And I'm going to try and capture that much of the Milky Way. Now the blue box is where it's currently at, but the orange box is what I'm telling it to do that stitching process. And so now that I've got it where I want it to go, I click the go to. And then what it's going to do is it's going to go to that center spot and center the Milky Way mode like I've suggested for it to do. And then it's going to go into shooting mode. Once it goes into shooting mode, it's going to go back to the live mode and you'll be able to watch it. So it's identified that area in the sky, and then you see the little red button at the bottom. You don't need to touch it. It's going to start automatically once it is centered properly. I do have a car coming by. So you see there, I didn't touch anything. It just started automatically. And now it's just going to start taking all of those exposures in that area. Now, if you look over to the left, you can see that little icon with that 8K icon right there on the left. It has 0% because so far it has saved 0% of my Milky Way image. And you can kind of see the Milky Way down in the bottom left of the screen. That's just one section, and right now we're going to have a car go by, so I'm hoping it doesn't interfere. If it does, it should eliminate that exposure. But it's now, you can tell the progress of your imaging over there on the left by that 8K box. It says it's at 4%, and so it's just going to continue doing that. Now what's going to happen is you'll see the imaging shifting. You can kind of see that Milky Way. It's going from right above that little landscape and 6% icon up to the right, and it's kind of ending right there around the AID noising tool. And so you can already see the Milky Way is starting to appear in this image. And then what's going to happen is it's going to take its exposures right in this section, and then it's going to move a little bit and take those exposures, and then move a little bit and take those exposures. I did include a little bit of the ground so that there would be some reference. I was recording and another phone call came in. My daughter has been watching my location on my phone and saw me out in the middle of nowhere, and I hadn't told her I was doing this, so she's curious why I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And so she keeps calling or texting and it interrupts my video, but sorry about that. And so what it's going to do is it's going to take little sections of that landscape rectangle, and then it's going to stitch them together. Now you can see the progress is at 16%. I'm just going to leave it running through the whole process, but I'll probably speed up the portion where I'm not just rambling on for the whole time, so that you can see the image as it bounces around to capture all of the areas of that larger rectangle, because it's kind of an interesting process. And then when it gets to 100%, it will automatically just say that it's completed capturing the images, and now it's stitching it together. And then it takes the time and it gives you the percentage. We'll see that when we get there, but all of it is automatic. So once you've started this process, you just let it run. You don't have to touch anything. You don't have to move anything. You don't have to do any editing or anything with it. You just wait until it's all done, and then once it's done, it will let you see your final result. And you can see there's a little wispy cloud going through there right now. It's kind of interesting to watch. You can see airplanes as they go through. But this is how you do the Milky Way mode. And so I'll just recap it. Just connect to your Seestar, do all the leveling, the initialization, and the focusing, and then go into the Milky Way mode, set your exposure rate, set your freeze ground timing, and then go into the Sky Atlas and identify the area that you want your Milky Way to focus in on. And then you can go in and set it to portrait or landscaping for the orientation of your image. And then once you've done that, you just, in the Sky Atlas, click Go To, and then that starts the whole process. All right, there you can see a plane going through in the bottom right-hand corner. So it's kind of fun. You can watch these things happen. I'm going to have a car go through here right now. I'm bringing you back a little bit earlier than when it's completely done because I want to show you what it's looking like. Up in the settings, I did not have it save each frame, but if in the process you go into your album and go to my Seestar and click on the Milky Way, you can see there's like 40 files in here. It's saving every one of those files right now. So what it's doing is it saves each one, and then when it does the stitching process, it will delete all of these options. But I wanted to show you some of them. Like this is probably one of the better ones. You can see the Milky Way here, and that's going to be incorporated into that final stitched progress image. So there's several of them that you can see the ground and you can see the Milky Way. And so it's just stacking all of these just like it does when it does the live stacking, but it's moving around to different sections of that rectangle we told it about. You can see the Milky Way prominently in several of these photos. All of these are going to go away once the stitching process is completed though. And so I just wanted to show you that in the interim, it does save every one of those files. But if you haven't selected in the settings to have it save each frame, they will disappear once the image is completed. And so I wanted to share that with you. It's at about 95%. And, you know, the image that you're looking at on the screen, the live image right now, just isn't all that impressive. But we just need to wait for it to be put all together and stitched together. So what it's going to do is it's going to take each one of those little exposures, it's going to plate solve it with its neighbor images, and then it's going to basically tape the images together. Right there, it just flipped over to the stitching process. I didn't have to touch anything, didn't have to do anything. It's all automatic. And now it's done 1% of the stitching, and it's taking all of those exposures and basically laying them next to each other and then plate solving the stars to align them up to create a bigger field of view image than what we would have gotten if we just took one exposure. And so this is the process that's going on. I'll quit rambling on and let it complete the stitching process, and then I'll bring you back when it's close and the image is done. It doesn't always go to 100% on this process. From my experience, it completes. Had a little bit more technical difficulty, so I'm going to have to voice over record. But this is the resulting image, and we can use the editing tools in the Seestar app to enhance these. You could also export the photo and do some post-processing if you wanted to, but just go into your album and you can locate your pictures there. If you It will save it to your album. You can export the photo as well. And actually it turned out quite nice, I think. Next, I will put up some of the images that I was able to capture this night. Everything that I will be showing you was straight out of the Seestar. I may have done some of the in-app editing, but none of it has been exported and done in outside software or processing. And so these are some of the pictures that we were able to capture this night. And it took us maybe a couple hours because we did have some technical difficulties and had to start it over a few times. But these are some of the images we got. I hope that the steps are clear and you're able to follow the process. It's very simple to do. Just make sure you're in a dark enough sky location and as little light as possible to do this, and you should have a successful time at this, and hope you'll learn something. If you do, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we're wishing clear skies to everybody. Thanks for watching.